What's up, guys? Welcome to Daily Dose of Reddit. This is your host, Zach, and today's subreddit is r/TalesFromTheCustomer. Alright, this story's called, I Just Wanted My Bags of Dirt. So, I'm on mobile, and please excuse any typos because I'm terrible at writing, and also telling stories. Also, this is long, drawn out, and hopefully you can feel my frustration dripping out of every single word that I write here. Background info. We're a military family living on a base in the United States. My husband, currently stationed overseas, ordered me 9 bags of potting soil from a website of one of the major chain hardware stores because I'm making a huge garden bed this year in my little 10 by 14 foot standard issue backyard that the base housing has. The order with delivery charge was $110 US. He ordered it on a Friday on one of his layovers while flying overseas, and it was supposed to arrive Sunday. It didn't arrive, so I check the order status. It now says it will be delivered on Monday. I check again on Monday and says it was delivered that night at 8 p.m. Obviously, I didn't receive it. I was confused and a little pissed at this point since I really just wanted to start my garden. I vowed to call the 1-800 number super early in the next morning. Act 1. The transfers. I wake up, roll out of bed, dodging the grabby little hands of my 4- and 2-year-old boys, and get my phone. I call the number and it puts me through the automated system, and all that tells me is it's been delivered. Helpful. 1. So I demanded the robot give me a real person. It gave me a person finally, and I explained my situation. She, 2, transferred me to customer service at the store it was coming from. He, 3, transferred me to the delivery driver responsible for my delivery. He, 4, says,
"What are you talking about? I'm several states away and I don't know anything about this delivery."
He, 5, transferred me to the delivery driver at the store closest to me. He, 6, transfers me to the customer service desk in his store. The last transfer gave me an assistant manager, and he did a little bit of digging to figure it out and told me the delivery driver had loaded up my dirt and then never delivered it. Great! But he refunded me the $35 delivery charge for the inconvenience and told me it would be delivered by the end of the day. I told him that would be great. The end of the day rolls around and still nothing. The online tracker tells me it will be delivered the next day, Wednesday. Now, I consider myself a patient person, but I was pretty much at the end of it. So I put my boys to bed and call the 1-800 number again. I get the robot and it tells me my order has been delivered. I take a deep breath and prepare myself. Then I demand the robot give me a person. Act 2. The dueling managers. It gets a bit confusing here, so here's a guide. An order of appearance. Here's the cast. Online customer service rep.
Customer service rep. In the store.
Store manager. Online supervisor. Okay, the voice is subject to change, guys, because I don't know the... You get it. Okay. I get an online customer service rep.
Well, this is just unacceptable. I'm gonna be here with you with every step of the way to figure this out for you. We're gonna call the store and get a manager.
So she calls the store it was supposed to come from. I can tell she's just as pissed as I am that I was going through this. She was amazing and ready to go in there, swords drawn, banners flying for me. We get the store rep, and online rep asks her to get her manager. She sends us to the endless ringing cycle of doom, and after about 5 minutes of waiting, store rep hangs up and we call again. We get the same online rep as before.
We just sat on that line for 5 minutes. Either we need to get a manager or you need to help us with this problem.
"I'll page my manager."
Enter store manager stage right. We explain the situation and she listens very carefully about the situation. I then mention that I live on a military base in state A.
What? We're in state B, 13 hours away from there. I need to speak to your supervisor.
Online rep gets her supervisor into it. Enter online supervisor stage left. Online supervisor is briefly brought up to speed about the situation because we're all confused as to why my online order was sent to store in state B when delivery address is in state A. As they're looking into it, I casually mention that my husband husband ordered it while on a layover.
Light bulb. Wait, did your husband have a layover in State B?
Yes, he did. Apparently, the automated system automatically sent the order to the store nearest to my husband at the time, which was in State B. So now we had to get it fixed. Their system doesn't allow them to simply transfer the order to a different store, so the store manager has to return my order. However, my husband strangely paid with PayPal, and she didn't get the option to return it to PayPal. She obviously couldn't give me store credit because when will I ever be able to spend $75 at a store 13 hours away from me? She had to cut me a check. A literal snail mail take it to the bank check. It will take 7 to 10 business days for me to get my refund.
Well, I'm done here, so good luck, you guys.
Obviously paraphrasing. She hangs up and the online supervisor has to complete a completely different order for me so I can finally get my soil. She gives me a $40 online gift card that she puts toward my purchase for me. It basically covers the shipping fee and the tax. It will be there Friday. I thank her and tell her what an amazing job Online Rep was doing and how I really appreciated her help. We hung up. Friday rolls around and nothing. The online tracker says it will be here on Saturday then. Whatever. I wait until Saturday, and about noon, the delivery driver pulls up and unloaded my 9 bags of dirt. I'm happy, and I thought that was it. It wasn't it. Act 3, the delivery driver. 2 days later, Monday, I wake up to my phone ringing. Here's the cast.
Delivery driver.
Online Rep 2.
A second, significantly less helpful online representative, assistant manager. The same assistant manager as before in Act 1.
Ma'am, I have your order here, but I can't get on the military base because I don't have my license.
You need a valid license and be able to pass a background check to get on base, so no felonies. What are you talking about? I've already received my order.
I don't know, but can you meet me off base so I can give you your order?
No, I don't have a car big enough for 9 bags of potting soil. And I've already received my order. I'm calling to make sure I'm not being charged twice. So I call the 1-800 number. Again. I get Online Rep 2 and fill her into the situation and ask for a supervisor.
Oh, you just need to call the store it's coming from and get them to figure it out. I can't see anything from my end.
Bull crap. She didn't even try to connect me. I ask for the supervisor again, and she gives me another dookie excuse. Whatever. I hang up and call the store it's coming from. I get the same assistant manager as before, the one who refunded the original order's $35 delivery charge. I explain the situation to him and tell him I'm just trying to make sure I'm not being charged twice because I hadn't yet received my snail mail refund from the store in State B. After he confirms that I did not actually order 18 bags of dirt, he did a little digging. Apparently, the order that I had already received was the order my husband put in and had been canceled. The one that was trying to be delivered was the one that other store put in for me. Assistant manager told me he was just gonna cancel this delivery and, for the inconvenience, he was going to refund my $35 delivery charge. You know, after I had already been given a $40 gift card for the delivery charge by the online supervisor. I said thank you and have a great day. What a crap show. Edit. Several people have asked why I didn't pick up the soil myself instead of going through all this. I have 2 high energy boys under 4 all to myself since my husband is overseas. I don't have room in my car for 9 bags of dirt, and I have a hard time driving off post since we live in an area with crazy traffic and I have major anxiety when driving in traffic stemming from a crazy car accident that happened when I was 32 weeks pregnant with my first baby. Plus, my husband wanted to make it easier for me to make up for having to leave home again. Of my 2-year-old's lives, he's been gone for 19 months of it. It'll be worth it once he retires. But gosh darn it, it's hard right now. Aw, yeah, I can see being a military spouse can be a pretty difficult thing. Unless you got, what are those called, Jodies or something? Oh, man. Funny stuff. I love those memes. Anyway, yeah, that sounds ridiculous, but honestly, they were very accommodating, so what's the big deal? Other than the the endless number of transfers. I would scream. I would scream. There was a potentially fraudulent charge on my credit card, and I legitimately just didn't want to deal with it because I do not want to call customer service. Like, they were like, you got to call this number. I'm like, is it worth it? But don't worry, I did call because I figured it'll take less than 5 minutes. And you know what? It took like 3. It was still agonizing. And don't take that as me being afraid to talk to people, okay? I love talking to people. I talk to people all the time. I talk to random people. Like, it's fun, but not customer service. Alright, this story's called Local Pub Loses Customer for Forcing Tip Sharing. Long-time lurker, first-time poster, sorry I'm still learning the formatting. Let me preface this by saying that here in Canada, servers are allowed to be paid a different minimum wage, which is slightly lower than regular minimum wage. This is because the government assumes that servers will receive tips, and the government taxes them on their tips. Personally, I completely disagree with this law, as it is implying that the services that a server performs for the restaurant or bar are worth less than minimum wage. So the establishment gets to pay less and the server can hope to make it up in tips. I also believe that if I, the customer, choose to tip, it should be my choice as to how much and to whom the tip goes. It is my way of saying to my server, hey, you did a fantastic job, keep up the great work. The server sees that if they are extra attentive, they get better tips, and they are that much more attentive going forward. It creates a positive atmosphere for the client, the server, and the establishment. This is why I do not agree with forced tip sharing in seated establishments. I do understand that the quality of the food and the attentiveness to detail in a custom order at the kitchen level can affect the overall experience for the dinner, and thus affect tips. So it does make sense to do what some restaurants do and tip out a percentage of tips, from what I have heard, between 10 and 15% for the kitchen staff to share. However, forced tip sharing among servers, and especially with management or the house, will always lead to resentment and poor service, as 1 or 2 great servers carry the weight for the slackers and get penalized for it. And the house is already getting tipped by not having to pay as high of a minimum wage to the servers in the first place. Okay, on to the story. About a dozen years ago, or so, I was managing a production crew that did concerts and shows for a university. We had about 40 to 50 crew members to perform over 75 large productions within a 9-day time period. It was nuts! Because we were operating 24/7 for over a week straight in rotating shifts, my department bought a lot of meals for our crew. Our food budget alone was over $4,000 just for 9 days. Every year we like to vary the meal selection, but would have a local pub where we would chill after a shift, sometimes as a group. On the year in question, we had chosen a local pub, Uppity, not its real name, to be our haunt. Now, the organization I worked for would reimburse me for any meals I had purchased for my crew, including a 10% tip. Because of my feelings on tipping being personal, I would not expect them to pay for the tip, just the meal. So I would put $0 tip on my credit card receipts and leave a cash tip, usually 20 to 35% for the server out of my own pocket. So one day we finished our shows early and I and my assistant went to Uppity's for some snacks and a brew. After we were there for a while, 2 other crew members who had the same idea popped in, so they joined us. Sure enough, 15 minutes later, 3 more walked in, and we all had a good laugh. Now my assistant and I had our food, and the other groups were at their own tables and had their own booze bills on the go. We decided to pull the tables together to socialize. I decided to order a platter of wings and a platter of nachos for all of us to share. I was expecting a bill around $80 for myself and my assistant, including the wings and nachos. Everybody else had their own bills. You have probably figured out where this is going by now. We all agreed that our server was fantastic and was deserving deserving of a large tip. I decided on $20 for my order, so about 25%. All of the other people with us had their own food and beverage bills, and all tipped cash to the server. I get the bill. It's over $100. I look over the bill to see why it was so high and realize that the pub had decided that we were a group, so they applied group pricing to the platters, which was higher even though it was the same size platter. And they included a 15% gratuity, as we were a group. I asked our server nicely if they could change that, as we were not a group, and due to my employer's rules, I would not be able to recover any of this bill if a 15% gratuity were included. At the time, the employer would not split a bill into payable parts. It was all or nothing. She checked and her supervisor told her it was not possible to change it. So we finished up, paid the bill, and left. I was miffed. I couldn't figure out why they would do this, except to pad the house's pockets. I mean, I was about to give her a 25% tip, and they forced me into paying her a 15% tip. And now, because of my employer's policies, I am out over $100 for food for my crew instead of the $20 that I was more than willing to give our server. So the next day, I wandered over to speak to the main manager and had a nice discussion with him. I explained what happened and how I am now out of a lot of personal money and how nobody checked with me, the paying customer, if this was cool in the first place. I also explained how we were a decent-sized crew and gave them a lot of business. I'm not sure enough to make or break them, but they were a small bar, and young people eat and drink a lot. He basically said,
Sorry about your luck. Next time you decide to have a group in, you need to talk to the manager on duty and arrange to not have the gratuity put on your bill.
My insistence that we were not there as a group, as evidenced by all separate bills and tips, fell on deaf ears. During the course of discussion, it came to light that this establishment took part in forced tip sharing between all the servers, and the kitchen, and the house. The picture was starting to become clear for me now. So the server might see 25% of their tips at the end of the night. So that was the last time I have ever set foot in there. One or two of my crew would pop in for a beer now and then, but generally, they lost many thousands in business from us over the decade or so that we were there. All over a forced tip. We found a much better watering hole that treated us and their servers with respect. Respect your customers and servers, and they will respect you back. Well, ain't that some unethical behavior from that restaurant? Yikes.
Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that bell to never miss an episode.